Therefore, if a Day of Atonement is mandated, then one was required to observe it in acknowledgement of the guilt that they bore before God. If they didn't observe the day, maybe because of trusting in their own righteousness or for whatever other reason, then they were cursed for not fulfilling the words of the law. However, if they did observe it, there was the acknowledgement that they needed the atonement for not having observed the law. Either way, they stood guilty before the law. Therefore, the law itself was based on, begins with G, ends with race. Anybody? It was based on grace. Everybody got that? Because you had the Day of Atonement. The precepts of the law could only bring condemnation, but the law understood this, and thus it offered this annual grace. If one relied on works of the law, they stood condemned before God and were under a curse, exactly as it says in Deuteronomy. This doesn't mean that they weren't expected to adhere to the law, but that they were to not trust in their adherence to the law in order to be justified. They were to trust in the mercy of God. They were to adhere to the law, but that was not what they were to trust in. They were to trust in the mercy of God. That's the point there, okay? They were to trust in the continued grace of God from year to year, the annual reminder of their sins. In the verses ahead, which we do not have time for today, Paul will continue to explain the purpose of the law and then detail the reason for Christ's coming in relation to that law. And we're going through the law right now, Deuteronomy. I typed up something on Monday, as I said. And by the time we get done with Deuteronomy, you're either going to say, that was really great, and I'm so happy we did that, or we're going to say, I'm so sick of law, I don't ever want to hear it again. It doesn't matter. It's something that we need to understand in order to understand what Christ has done. Just like we needed to understand the symbolism of the ark and the mercy seat and the table of showbread and the menorah, everything pointing to Christ. If we don't have that before Christ comes, then we don't understand what Christ did. The book of Hebrews would be almost blank because he goes back to that symbolism to explain that this is fulfilled in him. So they could look at it and say, I get it. And why people don't observe or look into the law, it's their loss. It's such a loss to not look into the law. Life application.